Hi everyone, welcome to another video from Crafty Terrain. My name's Lee and today I'm going to be showing you how to make this awesome toxic waste silo out of trash. Okay, let's get into the video. Right, okay, so this is going to be the base for our silo build. And then basically what I've done with this base, it's already pre-prepared, is I've cut it out of 6mm MDF, I've beveled the edges with a sharp knife, and then I've painted it both sides and sprayed it with varnish to give it a bit of protection from warping. It's always a good idea when you're building bases, make yourself some spare bases. What it does, it saves you time when it comes to making terrain. So what I'll do is I'll have a half a day where I'll just get my bases and I'll just prepare 12 bases. So then when I'm ready and I need one, I've got one that's a suitable sort of size and shape. Then what I'm going to be using are these baby food cans. They're empty, you get baby formula in there. They're going to be really good upside down as the silo, okay? This first one, I'm leaving the lid in, okay? The second one, what I've done is I've just used a tin opener to take the lid out and push it down. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a hot glue gun to seal that rim, because my plan is to put some like resin in here and make it look like toxic waste. So I'm going to use my glue gun to seal there. And you turn it over, take the plastic cap off and use your glue gun to seal around the bottom, so when you pour the resin you don't get any leakages. And then all I'm going to do is use hot glue to stick them down to the base, okay? So just take your hot glue gun and just seal up the edges so you don't get any leaks, and that will help hold that in place. Okay guys, what I'm going to do, I'll go around, I'll seal all these up, I'll glue them in place, and then we'll come back. Okay, so they're all glued down now with the hot glue. If you can see that in there, I've put a rim hot glue, that's all sealed up. They're nicely in place. The next stage is, guys, I want to keep this build real simple, okay? You didn't have to drop this down and you don't have to use the resin. You could have just left it up at the top and put some pipes across. And that's what I'm going to do now. I've got these kiddie pipes. You've probably seen me use them before. I got them from Amazon. And I've built and super glued that into place. That one's going to sit in there and it'll sit there, and they're just going to get glued down. That way it'll look like the resin will fill up to there and it'll look like it's pumping across. I'm just going to place one of these connector pipes down here at the bottom, so it adds some sort of flow to the piece. So you can imagine how like the toxic waste would be being pumped through. Okay, so all I'm going to do to glue these down is I'm going to put a bit of hot glue around the bottom of this one to hold it in place, and a bit of super glue on the top one here, and same at the bottom. Super glue to the base, and then hot glue to the base and super glue to the metal. Okay, I'll get that done and then we're ready to give it a spray. Okay, that's all glued on now and it's ready to get sprayed. What I've done is I've added a ladder here, just using an old tennis racket, just cut out that and you can make good ladders. And then from there I've added a few more little pipes just around the side, just to add a bit more detail, and used some 3D printed barrels on this side and then two on this side, one here and one here, just to add a bit of scale and help it look a bit more industrial. Okay, I'll go and get that sprayed and then we'll come back. Okay, so we're back and that's all sprayed now. I just used a black to give it a prime in its base coat, then a grey, then a dark brown from a further distance away, just to give it that slight weathered like look. The next stage now is to start building up our ground formation. So for that I'm going to be using the Luke's APS modelling compound. And all you got to do is just place that on and just spread it out to build your groundwork up like so. Okay, take it right up to the edge of the silos and round the pipes so they look like they are in the ground. Okay, just spread that out nicely and go around and cover everywhere that you want some ground dirt formations to be. Okay, I'm going to get that done and then okay guys, so the ground cover's gone down now and that's drying quite nicely. The next stage I want to do is dry brush some metallic over this weathered look, and for that I'm just using this copper paint here mixed with a bit of black into a little plastic tub, and then all I'm going to do is just dry brush that over the piece, okay, just to give it that little metal metallic look. And same to the tops of the pipe work and stuff as well. Okay, I'm going to go around, get all that done, and then we're going to come back and have a look how that's going and get the ground work painted and finished off. Okay, so the piece now has got a nice little metal shimmer to it, which is looking nice and old and rusty. Next stage now is to paint the groundwork, and for that I'm just using a cheap brown paint from like your pound shops or your dollar stores, and then I'm just using my brush and I'm just going to go around, paint over all the ground cover now so it's brown, and then we will be adding some flock to that, but you want to paint it brown just so that any gaps in the flock don't stand out so much, okay? They're not glaringly obvious. So I'll just go around now, paint all this on, then we'll come back and we'll see how it's looking. Okay, so we're back. That's all painted now. It's not dry yet, but I'm going to leave it overnight to dry. What I want to do now though is just pour the resin in this top bit for the first pour. So I'm going to do it over 2 pours because it is quite deep. So I've mixed up 100 grams of the CFS clear cast resin. If you want to see that, go and watch our lakes and ponds video and you'll get to see us using that. And I've mixed in some green Army Painter green skin, this colour. And I'm just going to give this a pour in here. I've been mixing it off camera now for about 5 minutes, and I'm just going to pour it into that top well and leave that to set overnight, and that'll be the first pour. My end colour hopefully will be lighter, and I'm going to add some effects to that. So just give this a pour, and this is where we find out now whether that hot glue has sealed that top. I'm pretty sure it has, and this is self-leveling. Just get it all, pour it all in. Careful not to get it on like the pot where you don't want it, like on the pipes, stuff like that. Scrape it out, and then what you can do is you can pick your piece up, move it round, and that will help that level out. So this was 100 grams of the resin and 3 grams of the catalyst that helps it set. Okay, you can see that in there, that's looking quite nice. Just move it around so it goes to all the parts that you want it to go, and then you're happy with that, and we can let that set. There's something floating in there. When it's wet like this, you can move it around and you can work with it, so it's absolutely great. There you go, take that out and it'll move itself. As it starts to dry and get tacky, that's when you need to leave it alone. Okay, so I'm going to leave that overnight to dry, and then we'll come back and have a look how it's going. Okay, we're back and the groundwork's fully dry, and the first pour of the green toxic resin has dried hard and looks good. It's a really dark green. I am going to bring that up a bit lighter and add some effects, which we'll cover towards the end. The next stage now is to put the flock onto the ground cover. So for that, just grab your PVA glue or your white glue, spread it round where you need it to go. And then I'm just going to be using a mixed flock of like dark greens, some light greens and some mid-tones, and that's just what's going to go all over the base. Okay, I'm going to do it in this little bit area here first to show you, and then I'll finish off. Okay, so just spread it out, get it into all the gaps on the ground cover so you don't miss any, like so. And then all you're going to do for your pour is put a plastic tray down or some newspaper, something to catch the excess flock. And this is the flock that I'm using, it's just a cheap flock from eBay. And then just spread that over the white glue, okay? And you'll get a good covering. And then all you got to do is just tap that off, like so. And that's going to be your grass on your piece. Okay, I'm going to go around and finish that off, and then we'll come back when it's dry and have a look. Okay, so the ground cover's all dry now and looking pretty good. I've painted the barrels red and give them a little wash in Army Painter strong tone just to dull that red down, make them look a bit dirty. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go around, add a bit of PVA glue and stick on some grass tufts and some lichen, add all the finishing touches that just make the piece look real. I'm going to go around and stick all these on. We'll come back and I'll show you how it's going to look. I'm also going to use some that have got a little bit of flowers in these, like rose looking type bushes that look quite nice. So I'll get that done, all the finishing touches, and then we'll come back and look at how we're going to finish off this toxic pool of waste. Okay, so we're back and all the groundwork's dry and detailed. I was looking at the piece and it just looked a little bit plain, and then I remembered I had some of these Empire decals that I bought for a previous piece. So what I've done to add a bit of detail is I've stuck a couple of them on to the piece, which I think really sets it off. I might also add some like warning signs to and toxic waste signs to the side of the drums, but I don't have any at the moment, but I'll see how it looks when it's completely finished. The next stage is to add the resin, second pour, and then for this I've gone for a much lighter green. The greens I've used here, I've used a mix of this flow green from Vallejo Game Colour, and then this green here as well. You can see that. I've just mixed them two together to get a nice bright vibrant green, and then just going to pour that the same way as the first, just spread it out, and this will start to fill up the toxic tank now. And that looks much better with that light green in there. Just scrape it all out, and then you can just leave that to set again for 24 hours. It's better to do in multi-pours, so the resin will set better, because otherwise this would have been a very thick, deep piece of resin for one set. It might have receded a lot, so that's why I've done it over a couple of pours. I'm going to leave this overnight, and then we'll come back and see how it looks. Okay, so I've left that to dry overnight now, and that resin has cured and gone nice and hard. The next step that we're going to be doing is I'm going to add some bubbles to the toxic waste, so it looks like it's bubbling and festering. And for that I'm just going to use these little decorative pearls. I got this idea from Luke's APS channel, like Geek Gaming. And basically what you do is you just stick these self-adhesive half-light pearls on to the top of the resin, and then you're going to paint them green, and it will look like that the toxic waste is like bubbling and festering up, and should give a nice like cool effect. We get them in different sizes, and they're only nice and cheap, these, so you can get them from eBay, Amazon, like your little gift stores, places like that. They're just for decorative furniture, I believe. Just dot a few of them around, spread them out, make it look natural, so to speak. I'll get this done and paint them up, and then we'll come back and we'll have a look at how they're looking. Okay, so I've painted all them pearls now, so they do look really good as the bubbles. So, you know, once again, shout out to Luke. That was a great idea he had there, and it does look really cool on the piece. Then if we look with some minis on for scale, it looks really good. It's going to play so nice on the board, and that's just recycled trash, and that's how it can look with a bit of flock and some nice little details like the transfers. They really do set the piece off. I had the idea, if I just spin it round for you here, I added little Sabine Wren's graffiti token up onto the top there, just thought it'd be a nice little cool detail to it. And I might come back at a later date and add some transfers to this piece of like toxic waste signs and hazard warning signs, but on the whole, really happy with how that turns out. It's going to play nice on the board, adding a bit of height, a bit of line of sight blocking terrain. So yeah, hope you've enjoyed that. Let's get this one wrapped up. Okay everyone, that brings us to the end of the video, and I hope it's given you some inspiration to make your own terrain from trash. It's a real nice, cheap way to make terrain for your gaming boards. Guys, if you've enjoyed the video, then please leave us a like, and if you want to see more from everyone at Crafted Terrain, then remember to subscribe and click that bell. Before we go, just want to say a massive thank you to everyone that subscribed. We're pushing on for 400 subs now, which is fantastic. And we've also just got a Facebook page now, so people can follow us there and see what we're up to. We're going to post pictures on everything that we're working on for the channel. Yeah, so go over there if you want to communicate with us also. If not, just let us know anything down in the comments and we can get back to you. Guys, stay safe and have a great day.